Letitia James, the God King. It's like she thinks she's invincible or something. It's the same story over and over again, but these corrupt political figures never seem to learn. So I've noticed a common theme among these corporate henchmen that have been engaging in lawfare over the past 4 years. Tell me if you notice the same thing, guys. They all seem completely convinced before the election that Donald Trump was gonna lose and Kamala Harris was gonna win in a landslide.
Anyhow, what do you make of the way that Republicans have followed Donald Trump's lead in just the tone of their attacks, not just on you, but also on the vice president?
They're running very scared. That's what I think. They're running very scared, and they have nothing else other than racism and sexism. And so when you have nothing else, unfortunately, you just appeal to the racists among us, the white nationalists among us. That's all. The reality is that Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, is qualified, and oftentimes she's underestimated, but she's an overachiever, and that's why I have wholeheartedly endorsed her.
Indeed, and DEI is actually a good thing.
Wow. The journalistic integrity. Didn't Joy Reid have to take a pay cut just recently? But that's okay, because apparently AG Letitia James is leading the Trump Resistance 2.0. AG Letitia James leads a 22-state effort to block Trump's federal funding freeze in New York and beyond. New York Attorney General Letitia James has led a successful charge alongside a coalition of 22 other state attorneys to block Trump administration policy that would put a freeze on essential federal funding. U.S. District Court in Rhode Island has granted their request for a temporary restraining order, effectively stopping the policy that was already causing widespread disruption. Of course that's going to happen. They had their news outlets directly lie and claim that the federal funding freeze was going to stop SNAP payments and end Medicare for people. Dude, when they play games like this, it's no wonder none of us trust the mainstream media anymore. So while everyone is starting to get their just desserts, Matthew Graves, Jack Smith, Alvin Bragg, Fannie Willis, Letitia James is still flying high right now, but it's not going to last forever. See, a lot of these positive headlines that she's been getting right now have actually been fueled by her ramping up the lawfare and the legal challenges since Trump won the election. And it definitely seems to be working to create this media image, this media hype around some resistance leader to Trump, someone who's withstood the pressure of Trump winning the executive office. But guys, if you do the math, that's all it is, an illusion, and karma is coming. I want you guys to watch Letitia James' face as she's asked about being prosecuted for election interference.
You mentioned retribution and revenge in your remarks. Trump has appealed the civil case, the $450 million judgment. I want to ask you specifically what you think last night's results mean for that. And more specifically, Trump has said that you should be prosecuted, and I'm quoting, for your role in the suit. He's also said that you should be arrested and punished. That's also a quote. And he said that he would support plans to prosecute you for election interference. Are you worried about any of that?
So I'm of the opinion that faith and fear don't share the same space. I'm not fearful of Donald Trump. I've never been fearful of Donald Trump. It's unfortunate that Donald Trump would engage in these comments. At this point in time, as you know, the case is on appeal, and we are looking forward to the decision of the appellate division.
Man, everything about her face and her tone and her body language just exuded confidence in that answer, didn't it? Now, I think this is why Letitia James is flying so high right now. The argument that they're building for the case of lawfare and election interference against Letitia James is going to depend heavily on the outcome of this whole appeal process, whether it's appealed and reversed in the appellate court or whether it goes all the way to the Supreme Court. Trump conviction in hush money trial would likely be tossed, but after November, legal experts say. It's obvious this is a selective and vindictive prosecution by Bragg, who sat on it for 6 years and then indicted just in time for a trial before the November election. And Judge Merchan is a willing participant in this raw use of the law for political purposes, said Joseph Moreno, a former federal prosecutor. Now, I'll go through a couple bullet points of why this hush money conviction is likely to get overturned, but if you guys want to check the card up here, I came out with a video when Trump's lawyers dropped allegations of jury juror misconduct. I went through Michael Cohen's sketchiness, Stormy Daniels' sketchiness, how their stories didn't even add up. I wasn't quite as good at narrative pacing, but there's chapters so you can skip right to the Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels parts. So real quick, they extended the statute of limitations twice, just for Trump though, not for any of the drug dealers that were caught. They dismissed those cases. Not for any of the violent criminals in New York. They dismissed those cases. But for Trump exclusively, COVID was a reason to extend the statute of limitations twice. They charged a financial crime that is normally a misdemeanor as a felony because they claim that it was done to hide another felony, which was to hide the payments to Stormy Daniels from scrutiny during the election, even though there is no evidence to support that. They charged each time the same document was filed as a separate felony, so that's how you get to 34 felonies, and they charged Trump with fraud even though he had never personally reviewed the documents. I don't think Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, or Pete Hegseth are about to forget any of this anytime soon, and let me show you exactly why.
He learned his lesson from the first term, and that is personnel is key, right? And it is so critically important that you put good people in the right post so you don't have to deal with this nonsense, right? You don't have to deal with this politicized and weaponized justice system. Let me just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time. And we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. And I promise you that. So think long and hard before you want to violate President Trump's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again.
So Letitia James might be flying high for right now, but that's not going to last for long, guys. By the way, check it out. RFK just exposed Bernie Sanders for the hypocrite that he is regarding big pharma donations. And also, special counsel Jack Smith was caught lying. And I think he's going to face charges too. Check it out, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. If you like the content, if you enjoy being here, hit the subscribe button and the like button. I'd love to have you here next time.